Woo, listen, I'm super excited about this guest. His big sister. She is everything to me. What I can say is over the past few years, it's been life-changing being in a relationship with her, being around her. And so I know most of y'all know her, but I'm going to let her introduce herself in just a second. But I got to start off. Dana, welcome to Delayed Gratification Podcast.
Thank you.
My first question is, what is delayed gratification to you?
Delayed gratification is when you make an investment, whether it's time or money, for a reward later. And most of us, every day in our life, we doing something for delayed gratification. Whether you work in a job, right, to get paid, investing in real estate to receive cash flow later and to build wealth, or even investing in mentorship.
So I guess I better say, who are you? Can you tell us about who you are?
So I am Dana Christian, the queen of business funding. I help people get access to millions in funding and also invest in real estate.
You get millions in funding?
Yes. With the right credit profile, you can get millions in funding. And it seems so far-fetched, right? Because a lot of us dream is just having $1 million, hitting a lotto for $1 million. So to legally get $1 million in funding, like, it seemed far-fetched.
Have you helped? So have you helped? How many people do you think you've helped get 10,000, 50,000?
Well over 1,000 people.
Well over 1,000 people. Mm-hmm. So if I say 1,000 times 10,000, that's $10 million. Mm-hmm. This year?
Not this year, in the last 4 years.
Last 4 years?
In the last 4 years.
Have you done it yourself?
Yes, I have over $1 million in funding myself.
What do you use that funding for?
So I use the funding to invest in real estate, to start different businesses, to invest in mentorship also.
With that funding, and how long did it take kind of in your life before you realized you can get that kind of funding? And then once you understood it, when did you start getting, like, how did you get to $1 million? Because I hear a lot of people getting 50,000, 20,000, 10,000, but when you say $1 million, that's a lot of money. Okay.
So first question was, when did I realize I can get $1 million in funding? Probably about 2018, okay, when I learned about the power of credit and business funding. So I would say around 2018. It took me about 2 years before I actually got the whole $1 million in business funding.
What were you doing before you start understanding business funding, getting credit cards? What were you doing before then?
Okay, so I've been doing a lot. So one thing is, I started working at the post office 1996. I was doing taxes since around 1990. I started investing in real estate 2006. Got a car dealership in 2012.
Hold on,
a mother.
Let me go back to this. So you were working a regular job,
correct?
Post office. Well, it's not regular, but you was working at the post office.
I was working at the post office since 1996, and just recently resigned about mid-June. But I've been out since September 2018. I got injured on the job.
So you started in 96. So you were with the post office for 26 years?
20-something, yeah.
What made you stay with the post office? Knowing that you were doing taxes, especially in 2018 when you started understanding the power of this credit and real estate, what made you stay there?
Security. So really, even though I hated the job, that's what started me investing in real estate, because I used to get anxiety attacks. So I hated it, but it was that security of knowing you was getting a check every 2 weeks, knowing you was going to get health insurance. And I always think about when I first got hired at the post office, I was receiving food stamps. So the first thing I thought about was, they're going to cut off my food stamps. I'm going to lose my $286 in food stamps. Not that I was going to get this job that was paying me $35,000 a year. Yeah. So I say that, so back to the post office, it's just a matter of that job security. So even though I've been out since 2018, I haven't received any type of compensation since 2020, okay, right? So 2 years before I actually resigned, because I was still holding on to that plan B, just in case, knowing it didn't make sense.
You got millions, you still holding on to the plan B that you're not getting paid from.
Correct. To the plan B, I'm not getting paid from, right? And then even working at the post office, it was times when my tax business, I made over $200,000 doing taxes, but my salary was $50,000 from the post office, which I could have been left. But that forced sense of security is what kept me there.
What made you resign in June? I mean, I saw the post. I seen the, former post office lady post. What made you finally say, you know what, I'm done?
I realized that I was holding on to a plan B that would never work. Right? To go back to the post office and receive, let's say, $5,000 a month when I'm making $100,000 a month. It don't. But it's the mindset. It's the mindset. Just in case this don't work out, I can go back here and be miserable.
Wow.
Yes. So I realized that I had to let go. To really move forward, I had to let go. But and I think holding on came from my past. I always had to have a plan A through Z. So just in case.
You wasn't born, like we see you now, very wealthy, you know what I mean? Like like we admire you, you inspire us. So you wasn't born like that?
Oh no. So I was born to you kind of say a single mom, because my dad was in and out of jail on drugs. We lived in the projects in New York. By the age of 17, I already had 2 children. The children's father was on drugs, so I did everything I had to do to take care of them. So that's what I always had a plan B, right? So even when they was younger, and when I was around 19, receiving public assistance, that wasn't enough. So my plan B was to work in Kentucky Fried Chicken under my sister name, so I wouldn't lose my food stamps. I mean, my welfare. So it's like I always had to have a plan B to make sure I had enough money to last me to the next time I was going to get some more money.
So do you think the way you were raised, let's say up until 19, have propelled you to where you are now? Like, what do you take away from that? Like, because that's, I mean, you 32 now, so that,
35.
35. Oh, you done made 35 now. 35. Okay, 35 this year. Okay. Right. So over those years, do you think you had to delay anything? You had to kind of forego anything so that you can get where you are? Because I've seen you do it the past few years where, you know what, we want a jet. And you say, well, you know what, instead of the jet, I'm going to go buy an 8-unit building, right? What happened in your early years that you feel like you delayed so that to get you where you are now?
I would say, Lord, what did I delay?
So I guess, could you have done something like crazy to get some money, but you cared more about the girls instead of doing something crazy?
No, because I did some crazy stuff.
There we go. Y'all.
I did some crazy stuff. I would say a lot of times I just do without really thinking about some of the consequences. Right? So we're like working at Kentucky Fried Chicken in my sister name, transporting drugs out of town. Right? So I didn't really think.
Well, how old were you? Wait a minute now. I didn't know this story. Yeah, wait a minute now. I'm finding out new stuff.
Yeah, I was probably around 21.
21.
20.
You were tired of dropping that chicken?
Yeah, and it wasn't enough money. Look, there's some other stuff going on with that too that we ain't gonna even get into, but I'm pretty sure we over the limit of station. But Kentucky was paying had some nice tips. we ain't gonna talk about those tips.
No, that's off. That's off camera. Look, that's next interview. That's part 2.
So, so I wouldn't really say something I put up. I just do. Yeah. I just had these kids to take care of, and I just did. So I guess the delayed gratification is taking care of my kids, always talking to them, showing them that you can be a strong woman so that they can be strong and successful.
What's crazy about that is I see how you guys interact, and you know, if I had to see from the outside, you delayed some things so that they can be as great as they are now. Because all three of them are great. The girls, I know you said you had them before you were 17, but look at them now. Because that's like I was saying earlier, that's a gratification I get when I delay things. If I know the kids are going to be in a better place, I'm cool with delaying whatever it is for that. So that's good, though. That's good. So I got to fast forward. We're going to go past that transporting stuff. Ooh, Lord. Ooh. That was 10 years ago. We good.
Yeah,
but you are in Atlanta now. You know they just announced they knocking people off, you know, that DA down there.
Oh my! Well, this wasn't in Atlanta. So I wasn't even living in Atlanta.
So let's fast forward. When did you start? How long after like those years, the early 20s, did you start at the post office?
So I started at the post office in '96. I probably was around. Oh, we don't want to tell our age. Well, '96.
'96.
You know, we in 2022, right? So I was mature. In between the post office, I worked a lot of supermarket jobs. Worked in the bank. Cashier jobs. Because I dropped out of high school in 9th grade, so I didn't have a high school diploma. I didn't have a college degree, so it was really minimum wage jobs up until the post office.
The post office, but you started doing taxes early 90s.
Correct. I started
before
doing
the post office.
Yeah, so I started. The reason I started doing taxes was I was working at the bank and I went to H&R Block, and they charged me $500. And back then, that's when they used to write everything out on the paper. They gave me this 1040 form. I said, they charged me $500. And $500 back in the 90s was a lot of money. They charged me $500 for this. I'm doing this myself. So the next year, I did it myself. And I was working in the group home. So the ladies that I was working in the group home with, I told them that I can do their taxes. They don't have to go to H&R Block. They just have to wait 10 to 21 days to receive.
How did you figure out how to do taxes now?
Because it's read and plug. And I was doing the simple 1040. So it was off a W-2.
Okay.
So you read and plug. And most things is read and plug. I learned how to do a lot of things by reading and plugging.
Most people don't want to take the time to read and plug because they want it now. They want somebody to do it right now as opposed to learning. So you made millions of dollars doing taxes because you at some point said, you know what, I'm going to delay H&R Block, give me that check today. And it may take me 3 more weeks, but now I'm going to make this money by learning how to read and plug.
Correct.
Wow.
Yeah. So I was doing it when you was writing it on the paper before the computers. Yeah, so I was like, I can make extra money. So I was charging the ladies like $25, $50.
You were cheap.
Yeah, I was cheap. I was cheap for a long time.
Until when?
I'm until next tax season. Actually, because I've been to next.
So you still doing taxes?
Yes, I'm still doing taxes.
So wait a minute. Let's see. We got and we got to talk about this real estate portfolio. You know, that's what I love. But you got this huge real estate portfolio. You're making plenty of money there. You're helping people learn how to build passive income through your program. We're going to talk about that too. You're also doing taxes during tax season, right? That's right. But so during these times you're building these businesses, what has to be sacrificed? What are you delaying? Like, tell me something that, you know what, are you tired? Are you working long hours? What are you giving up to get these successful businesses?
So I'm giving up time, family time, and television. Really. But I wouldn't say really family time. So honestly, I learned how to use VAs in my business to give me the time freedom. Right? So we talking
What's a
about
VA?
A VA is a virtual assistant. Usually it's someone that works from home, but when we hear the term VA, we thinking about people that work from the Philippines.
Okay.
Right? That does an excellent job. So prior to, I want to say 2020, I did give up family time, my personal time to run these businesses. But now with VAs, I brought some of my time back.
But do you think giving that stuff up allowed you to build up the income so that you could go out and pay for some help?
Correct. Yes. So that's delayed gratification, right? The beginning, you make the investment, whether it's time, money, so that later on you can have a successful business. So
you got like 7 successful businesses.
Probably a little more than, yeah.
A little more than that?
Yeah, but you know what? It's so crazy because a lot of times I'd be ashamed to even talk about the businesses, because I just started a new business. And I was a little ashamed to talk about it. One day people going to say you're doing too much. But I had to realize a person to say you're doing too much, they not doing enough.
Oh, repeat that.
A person that says that you are doing too much is because they not doing enough. So it makes them feel better to try to make you feel bad. And for a long time, I lived in shame, right? Whether it be growing up, being a teenage mom, the kid's father, on drugs, to being successful. You're still ashamed to be successful. Especially when you hanging around people that's not successful or people that know you, knows about your past.
Yeah.
Because I got a hell of a past. So people always want to bring up some past stuff.
But your hell of a past has made you have such a great present. You know what I mean? And then the future gonna be even greater. But right now, we good. You know what I mean? So let me ask you this though. So multiple businesses, right? What is your favorite?
So my favorite, I kind of have two favorites.
Okay.
One, I would say, I got three favorites. Can you have three favorites?
She might have 10 favorites, y'all.
Okay, so one I would say is real estate.
Okay.
Right? Because I know that's the way that you build wealth. Right? And I know real estate saved me when I got hurt on my job, my cash flow. So
what does that mean? Real estate saved you?
Because when I got injured at the job and I went out September 2018, it was 5 months before I received any pay from them.
Okay.
So imagine having no income for 5 months, but because I have rental income coming in, I was able to pay my bills and still live, right? So that's why real estate is my favorite, one of my favorites. My second favorite really is taxes, right? Because I love helping people save money, get money, right?
Okay.
And I felt, and even though I dropped out of high school, I always wanted to be an accountant. Growing up, accounting or bookkeeping. Even though taxes, you're not accountant or bookkeeper, but you still get to work with numbers.
You're good with numbers too.
Yeah.
I mean, I think about all that money you got, but we'll come back to that. We're going to come back to that one.
Taxes, and then my mentorship is the third one, because I get to help people and teach people things they didn't know about financial literacy and building wealth.
So I'm going to go backwards. Mentorship. What is that? Like, what? Who do you mentor? What does that look like? Because I know you got the mentorship, and then you got a bigger or a more what's the word? Kind of more elite group, right? So what's the mentorship, and what's the difference between your mastermind elite group?
Okay, so the mentorship is now it's a digital course.
Congratulations!
Thank you. With support calls. So it's still a mentorship. So you get to learn at your own pace. Then we have Q&A every Tuesday in a private Facebook group.
What's the name of it?
Oh, the Ladder to Passive Income.
Okay.
So the Ladder to Passive Income. And within that, we learn financial literacy, teach you how to get well over $1 million in funding and create additional streams of income. But the ultimate goal is to build passive income through real estate. Right, so I call it the ladder because it's actually a ladder to get there, and it starts with your credit, then getting access to funding, and then you need another source of income coming in because real estate is not a get rich quick, right? It's delayed gratification. So during that time, sometimes people get distracted, discouraged because it's not happening fast enough when they need money coming in. So if you learn another business that you can start to receive income, that will help keep you on that ladder to passive income. Like
what? What's another business that you teach?
So rental car business, starting a credit repair business, building business credit for people, wholesaling, short-term rental, Airbnb.
You teach all of that in the course?
Teach all of that in the course.
Where do we go get the course from?
So you can click the link in my bio on I Am Dana Christian or go to the website, The Ladder to Passive Income.
So now we got... That's another business. So we got the mentorship, but you also launched a mastermind, which is more, I'm going to say elite, more intimate. Tell me a little bit about that. And why did you launch that?
So Dana's Inner Circle. So that's more hands-on because the mentorship is you get the information, even though it's support calls, but it's not one-on-one support. So the Inner Circle is more of one-on-one, even though it's still group, right? But it's more tailored to your needs. And it's more, okay, so now you started this business. What do you need to get to the next level? So if it's marketing, somebody come and teach you about marketing, shooting content. I have my speaking coach on, teaching people how to kind of speak in a sense, to get your target audience. And also help you get access to funding. So it's more of I'm looking at your credit report and do this, that, and the other. Because sometimes, and even myself, sometimes we need just a little hand holding in a sense versus just getting the information. So that's the inner circle, and it's a 12-month program.
So I can say I just emailed your daughter about my credit at like 4:30 in the morning. She normally takes a little while to respond. I know you're gonna see this, but she take a day or so to respond. But I needed it, and I was raised in the era where we did a lot of cash stuff. We came from the other side of the tracks where you just don't know. But I seen a lot of wealth, but it was all based on cash. So when I started doing real estate, that's what I did. I did cash, hard money, or traditional loans, but not really focused on having 800 or 750 plus credit score. And then I started watching, I'll say because I've seen stuff, I've seen the credit repair stuff for years, and I always say, it's a gimmick. Like, I'm in Atlanta. So, people take $2,500, never come back. They fix her credit, but don't fix the next two people's credit. So I've always just been like, whatever, I'll just get the cash to go do it. But as the past couple of years, watching you build how you've built and tap into equity and tap into these cards, I know that takes, my business to, 8-9 figures, you know what I mean, over the next 10 or 15 years. But I got to be patient with it. So I like how you teach that as well. So let me go to the tax business. So now we got you kind of third, you liked the mentorship mastermind. Tax business. Why is tax business second over the mentorship?
So second, probably because I've been doing it longer.
Okay.
And taxes, I felt like always saved me. It was another safety net.
Okay.
Right? I remember when I was working 3 jobs, got into a little situation where I was out from the post office for 2.5 years. And I was working 3 jobs. And my house caught on fire and my girls was home alone.
Oh, no.
And it was so crazy because I'm riding home in the cab and I'm crying. I'm like, are they even old enough to be home? Or they're going to get taken. Which they was fine. And I was like, Dana, you can't keep on working 3 jobs. So tax season was coming and I was just doing a few people. I never really talked about it. So I said, let me rev that up because truth be told, those jobs, I wasn't getting paid that much money. So if I made, $5,000 from the tax season, then that was equivalent to working one of those jobs.
Wow.
So I left the job because the jobs one was paying like $6 an hour, another one 10, another one 12. So it wasn't paying that much money. So you figure you work tax season and, make some extra money. So that kind of like saved me from working the 3 jobs. And then when 2006, we started investing in real estate. And, I was still doing taxes, but never really advertised. So it was like hearsay. My friend told me about you. And when the market crashed, 2008, and I like to say that I stopped investing because the market crashed, but the truth is I ran out of money. So we was using our own money, so we ran out of money. So my goal was just to continue working at the post office, and from the money I make from the taxes, take $30,000, and buy a house every year.
Wow.
Right? But I didn't. Right? Busy living ghetto fabulous, like just doing whatever with the money, right? So in 2017, when I actually injured my right shoulder,
okay,
right, because I injured one shoulder first, 2017, and I was like, you know what? No, let me back up. Yeah, so that's when I revved up the tax business and would start telling people at the post, because nobody at the post office knew I was doing taxes. So, telling people I was doing taxes, and I think I grew to over 400 clients every year. Right, but when
while you was working at the post office,
while I was working at the post office,
wow.
Yeah, because taxes is only 3-4 months,
correct,
right? And and I was working overnight, so I had time to do taxes
during the day. One thing about you though, now you will work.
Yeah,
you will work. Mm-hmm. I mean, 3 jobs, 2 jobs at 17, 3 jobs, so nobody can ever accuse you of not working.
No, yeah. You can't.
So the working has been part of your journey though.
Yes.
And you still work like crazy. I know. You'll call and say, man, I've been sitting at this desk, for how many other hours, getting to it. And a lot of people don't see that side of it. They always say, you know what, man, I work smart. And I tell people, you got to work smart and hard for us to get ahead. Because one, as a people, we still behind, despite what social media says. But to catapult your family, it's going to be some hard work put in there.
Yeah.
So, all right. So taxes. Now let's talk about my favorite, the real estate. I've seen you accumulate at least 50 units. I'm counting. There's some stuff I probably don't know about. But in the past 3 or 4 years, right? How did that happen?
So, how did it happen? I got
Because you had the one that you bought in 2006.
So in 2000, between 2006 and 8, we bought 4 properties.
About 4. Who was we?
Me and my husband.
You got a husband? So you do all of this and you got a husband?
I got a husband.
I got to ask something about how you get to work like that and you got a husband.
So I got a husband. So we
shout out husband. What's up, Tony? So you accumulated between 06 and 08 how many properties?
Yeah, so 5 properties, including my primary.
Okay.
Yeah, including my primary. So in 2018.
You stopped in 2008 because you say you ran out of money. So you had a 10-year gap.
I had basically. A 10-year gap.
Okay.
I had a 10-year gap. And I knew real estate was the way to build wealth. Like I said, when I hated the post office, used to get anxiety attacks. That's why we started investing in real estate. Okay. Right? Because that was my way out. But then once we ran out of money, the market crashed. Right? I would just, go to the post office and did my tax business. Okay. Right? But one thing I want to say is, I noticed the difference, right? Prior to 2008, right, when I used to go to work, I used to have anxiety attacks because I had to be there. I needed the money. But once I revved up my tax business, right, and I was going because I wanted to, because I would call out if I didn't feel like going, right? So I had a different attitude. It's a difference between when you have to do something and when you want to, right? So then the post office wasn't that bad. Because if I didn't feel like going, I wouldn't go, and I tell them don't pay me. Because I didn't.
You had the option of telling them not to pay you.
Mm-hmm. I was making $200,000 from taxes, so $50,000 was my gross. I remember 1 year from the post office, I made $30,000 because I would tell them don't pay me.
While you was doing taxes.
Mm-hmm. I would go out,
So you basically made 3 to 4 times your salary in taxes. 3 or 4 months.
Correct.
But you were still holding on.
I was still holding on.
Okay. I will come at that, but come on.
I was still holding on.
Okay.
Yeah.
So 10-year gap. Okay. From 08 to 18.
Yeah. So 2017 when I first got injured, that's when I started seeking out people that was investing in real estate, joined the local RIA, found your program, Flipology.
Thank you.
Flipology, and we'll go every Thursday, and just learning how to really invest in real estate, because just because you own properties don't mean you know how to invest in real estate. I own properties. I didn't know how to analyze a deal.
Okay.
I thought the only way to buy properties was conventional, in my own name, having 20 to 30% down. I had no idea that you can buy properties in the LLC.
Yes.
And you can get private money, hard money, use business credit. I had no idea. Right, so in 2017, 18, that's when I started learning about leveraging credit, buying properties in the LLC, learning about private money, hard money. So the next property I bought, June 2018 in Baltimore. Okay. Bought it from an auction, bid it $70,000. So I had a choice of to pay cash or get it financed. I didn't know anyone in Baltimore. So I said, you know what, let's just pay cash. So we took a little bit of money. We did save up these 10 years. So I should have had way more. And, bought this property in Baltimore.
But you did, for those 10 years where you didn't buy anything, you were saving money so that you spend a bunch of money too, but you were saving and you had enough to buy a property.
Correct. Okay. I had enough to buy, I had enough to buy a property, $70,000.
So let's just say it took you 10 years to save $70,000. Mm-hmm. Most people don't save $70,000 their whole life.
That's true.
So at least you did have a plan, right? And so now you bought Baltimore, $70,000 cash, and what happens?
So it had a tenant in it. Tenant's still in it to this day.
From 2018?
From 2018, pay every month on time. Zelle money, we agreed on the 15th for every month. Sometimes I forget. But she texts Dana, I just sent the money. I was like, oh, today the 15th. But yeah, she sends the
She
money.
must got a sweet
no
rent. She got some sweet. How much she paid? No, don't tell us how much she paid. Don't tell us.
But without a problem. So then I started looking into the Cleveland market.
Mm-hmm.
So because the devil started getting busy in between that time, because I think we bid it on the house in April. We didn't have to close till like June. So I was like, so looking at Cleveland, I'm like, this 70,000, you could get 10 houses in Cleveland. You can ripple your money in this, that. But I was like, no, Dana, go through with it. Because the house now is worth, I think, $194,000. So
how much work have you put in? You bought it for 70. How much work have you put in?
The only thing we did was a HVAC system.
So maybe 10,000 with some
Five. Oh no, yeah, we waterproofed the basement, so maybe 10.
Maybe 10.
Maybe 10. That's it.
So for 4 years, it's been 4 years now. Mm-hmm. You've been getting $1,000 to $1,200 a month. Mm-hmm. So that's $48,000. Mm-hmm. She's almost paid you all your money back.
I think next year, when I did the math, I think next year my $70,000 be back. Wow. Next year too. Yeah, I made my money back.
And then the property is worth almost $200,000.
Correct, almost $200,000.
Put 80 in. Mm-hmm. It's worth $200, and you're gonna get all your money back within a 5 to 6 year period.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And
you patient enough to wait on that.
Correct.
Okay.
Delayed gratification.
All right, so that's June of 2018, because I want to see how we got to this, because you got a lot of units now.
Then I went into the Cleveland market.
Yes.
Purchased what was it? Three duplexes.
Wait a minute though. You only had 70,000.
Oh, 70,000.
2018.
Okay,
now, how you started just buying stuff? Now we need to know some secrets. Now.
Do I gotta talk about the other job?
No, don't tell them about every
my
job.
My husband might be listening. No, just joking. So I learned about business credit cards. So I learned about business credit cards, and I was on a call one night, and there was a bunch of us on the call. I'm not gonna say no names, but we was in this mentorship. And they used to have calls every Thursday. But it was a Wednesday that we got an email to get on the call. Mm-hmm. And it's several of us mentees on the call. So we sharing, I'm listening. They sharing information about the business credit cards and how it works, and how this company we was with, how they apply for people. Mm-hmm. So after the call, we was on the call for like 2 hours. I went and searched out every bank and looked to see if they had business products, and wrote up my list, and then start applying for business credit cards. So once I learned about, the business credit cards, and then I applied, and then I looked at what I got approved for, what I got denied for, what was the limits, right? And then strategize, how could I have done this different to get more funding? And
that was 4 years ago. So it seems like it's a lot easier now because of people like you have start teaching, you give away, like if I go on I can go on your social, and I'm cheating, but I can go on your page, and you've given a lot of the answers on how I can get a few $1,000s, right?
Yes.
Which means if I do that, I need to come back and join the mentorship program. I see you giving it away. I see you doing it for free. How much money did you get kind of that first 2018, the first year that you learned the business?
That first year, I think I got like 112,000.
In credit card?
In credit cards. Wow. So now I prefer credit cards versus loans, because credit cards is revolving. You only make a payment when you use it, versus a loan. As soon as they deposit that money in your account, a payment is due. Okay. And once the term is over, then the loan closes out. So you have to reapply. Versus credit cards is revolving. As you pay it down, the amount come available to you. You can always call and ask for an increase.
So when you talk about like credit cards, 112,000 the first year, and you immediately went and bought. You didn't go like buy a car with the credit cards. You didn't. You bought a bag.
I bought. I bought a bag. I bought some bricks actually. That don't.
Oh Lord, have mercy. Pablo taking credit cards now. So you immediately went to Cleveland.
I went to Cleveland.
Okay.
Yeah, because it was the market in Cleveland the houses is cheaper than here in Atlanta.
For sure.
So I was a little nervous, but I knew I needed to build a team. So I, went out there first with an investor, and then networked with other people.
So you bought what though? Then how did you? you can't just swipe your card so you got some ways to get the money off.
So yes, because a lot of times we hear credit cards, the first thing people think, cash advance fee.
Correct.
Right? But it's a program, Plastic, PLASTIQ, and they allow you to pay any business that normally do not accept credit cards. So a title company will not accept credit cards. Right. So they just want to know where the money is going. Real simple. I heard the name from somebody on live and went to their site and figured it out and been using Plastic since 2018. Use it to purchase the houses, to pay contractors, to purchase cars, to pay for any business. When people be like, they don't want to take credit cards because of chargeback. Okay, give me your banking information. I wire the money to you.
Wow.
And, Plastic do charge a 3% fee, but you still keep your 0% interest or whatever current interest you have on your cards.
You said so much just then. I'm gonna come back to the credit card stuff, because a lot of people, even with great credit, and I talk about it, like I post one day, like, why have great credit and you're not doing anything with it? You just got great credit. Okay, cool. You got an 800 credit score. But what?
See, the thing is, we wasn't taught about credit, right?
Correct.
So
most of us wasn't.
Even think about like what my parents told me. My mother, she had bills in our names, so she didn't tell us anything about credit. My grandmother, she told me never co-sign for anyone because they don't care about their credit. They're not going to care about yours. Yeah. Pay your bills on time. And she gave me a Macy's credit card to shop for the girls. So that's what I thought credit was for, to shop. Right? So most of us, we wasn't taught about credit. So we don't really know how to use it. And once I started learning that people use credit to build wealth, yes, I'm like, I got to teach people this. So that's what started me on my mentorship. And I used to always hear people say they found their calling. And I was like, they just talking. They don't know what they talking about. Because I didn't know what my calling was. So we don't think somebody capping. But once I started my mentorship and I really enjoy it, I was like, yes, this is my calling.
Yeah, I've seen you, man, like, affect so many people's lives in the right way. You know what I mean? And I'm going to say mine. Because I know I got, I talked about it, but I got properties with a ton of equity. And I would have never tapped into it. I understand refinancing. But again, I was raised, like my dad used to say, you know what? We want that house over there. House costs $50,000. I'm going to go make $50,000. Y'all want that car? Like when we were kids, he would buy us cars. Everything was paid for. Like we never had like mortgages. We never had car notes. So again, because I was raised that way, that's how I was kind of living. Like, okay, we finna buy a house. I need cash. So I could have grown tremendously, and I'm still kind of young. I got time, but you have changed my life, which in turn means the kids got a better life. You know what I mean? I tell them, go watch Dana. Go, you know what I mean? And they understand that. So that is a good thing. But let me get back to these properties now. 2018, you got 112 grand. You go to Cleveland and buy what?
So I purchased actually 2 duplexes.
For $112,000?
Each one was $50,000 with purchase and rehab.
Okay. So you had 5, including your personal. You just added 4 more units. So we at 9.
So 5 more to Baltimore.
Oh yeah, 5. So we at 10 units now.
Don't cheat me.
So now you had 5, and then you waited 10 years to get 5 more. But now you got 10. By 2019, you at 10.
2019, I'm a little more than. So 10 plus 3 more is 13. Cause I got a triplex.
So you bought another triplex. How did you buy that triplex though? What?
So with credit cards also.
So you went and got more credit cards.
Oh yeah, so I went and got more credit cards.
Okay.
Yeah, so I went and got more credit cards, and bought the triplex.
So now I got 13.
And then bought the 8 unit was next.
So now I'm at 21.
Oh, I did 2 flips. Can we count those?
We can count those.
Okay.
So we done touched 23 properties now.
23, and then.
But wait a minute though. Wait a minute before you keep going. So we're at 23, but the last.
But all of these.
Last 18 have been because you've used the credit cards.
Yes.
Okay. Yes. So 23.
And then the 7 unit.
30.
Then I just bought another flip. 31. And then the 22 unit.
53. So you went from 5 units, then you waited 10 years, And then you have, in the past 4 years, added 48 units with your credit card.
Correct. With the credit cards.
You show people how to do that.
Correct.
Like the right way.
Yeah, the right way. You know what? Because my thing is information is free.
Yes.
Right? So that's why I'm on IG always giving out, information, stuff like that. But like for my mentorship and my inner circle, you're paying for my time. The time it takes me for you to understand and you actually get it. Yes. And sometimes when people don't pay, they don't pay attention.
What does that mean?
Because when things is free, a lot of times we don't pay attention or we don't spend enough money. How many of us bought ebooks, courses for $100 and haven't even opened it?
Never opened an email.
Even $1,000. Never even opened it.
I don't know about $1,000. I pay $1,000 for something.
But a lot of us, you know what I'm saying, spend money and won't even open it.
Yes. So you're at, damn, Dana, you got 53 units? 53. All on the credit cards.
All on the credit cards.
That's amazing. So the importance of this is, because I hear people talking about business credit all the time. Seems like you teach us to make sure we have our personal credit in order.
Correct. Yeah. And one thing about the business credit, even though these cards is maxed out, right, while you're getting it, and you do have to make a payment, right, you still have to pay this back, is it doesn't affect your personal credit. Unlike you on your personal credit, if you have a Bank of America credit card for $21,000 is maxed out, it's going to decrease your credit score. But in the business, if you have a business credit card from Bank of America, it will not report on your personal.
So let's just say, scenario, I got decent credit, right? But I want to come to you and join your mentorship. I want to, so not the mastermind, because I think that's kind of next level. You know what I mean? But your mentorship, passive. So do you help us get our credit right in that program?
So yes, we teach you how to fix your credit.
Myself?
How to fix yourself, yes.
I don't have time.
You don't have time, then yes, then we do have a credit repair specialist on the team that will do it for you.
Okay. It's free?
No, it's not free.
I mean, I had to ask. No. I need to know.
It's not.
I mean, it sounded like that was free just then.
No, it's not free. But, people say they don't have the time, but you have the time for what you want to, right? Because it really doesn't take that much time for you to print a letter up, right? Even an hour, you're doing it once a month, right? So when people say they don't have the time, make the time. Because one thing, once you learn how to do it for yourself, you can do it for your family members.
But you teach us how to now. If I'm in the mentorship program, you do give me like
you get all the steps to fix your credit,
to fix my credit,
the programs we use. Because really, the CMR system, you put the information in there, it's gonna print the letter up in less than a minute.
But see, you make it seem so easy. But let me say this though: for most of us, if I Google how to fix my credit, it's so much stuff. I'm like, oh my God. So I just don't do anything, which is why the mentorship is so important, or me just paying somebody. Because if I want instant gratification, so I want to pay somebody as opposed to me doing it, right? But that delayed piece is I can help more than me when I learn how to do it. So you teach me how to do it so I can not only fix mine, but help other people so we can not go out and buy crazy stuff. We buy the stuff that give us the money to then go buy the crazy stuff. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And they always say, I mess up a saying. Teacher, give
a heartbeat.
Yeah. Give a man a fish, he eat for a day.
Yes.
You teach a man to fish, he eat for a lifetime, right? So really that's what it's about. So that you can fix your credit and your family credit, because everybody's going to come with some type of issue in the credit, right? And it's not always that you have negative items. Just understanding how to leverage credit, what makes up the credit score, what would decrease your credit score, how many accounts you need, because a lot of times we wasn't taught about credit in school or family members. So anything we saw, stay away from credit. If you can't buy it twice, don't buy it at all, which don't make sense.
Correct.
Why would I want 2 Gucci bags that's the same? Right? So it don't make sense.
Correct.
You know what I'm saying? But we was taught things by people that didn't have the knowledge, right? Correct. And I hear people say you shouldn't create debt to build wealth, and there's no such thing as bad debt. But yes, it is. This is the cycle. You use debt to build wealth. That's on the cash flow. You use the cash flow to pay off the debt, right? So they forgot part of the sentence. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a whole circle.
So that's what I was going to ask you. So you swipe these cards, right? And you go buy an 8-unit building. Okay. Who pays for the card?
I was about to say something funny, but yeah. you know that commercial was like, you write it off. Who pays it? I don't know. They write it off. But yes, you have to pay the credit cards back, right? So either if the property is cash flowing, you can use that money to pay it back. You can refinance the property to pay it back. But I do fix and flips. So the money from the fix and flips, I use that to pay off the credit card so I can own these houses right out so I can pass down the wealth to my son.
But that take time though. They don't like.
But
so over the past few years, you are building, but it's taking time to get the buildings up and running, to get the right tenants, to get the right contractors. Are you that patient, or have you just said, you know what, I want to sell all of it because it's
so delayed gratification?
I love it,
right? And you know, you don't do anything for right now. This thing, people work a job 30, 40 years, right, to receive Social Security and pension. That's passive income. So if you're going to wait 30, 40 years for that, you can't wait 2 years to get the property up and running.
Wow. Okay.
Right? And then, like I said, you do have to make a payment. So that's why you want to have another source of income also, because if you're doing this, and a lot of times people don't have extra money from their job income. So if you create another stream of income, you can use that money to pay off the credit cards in addition to, you know, the rents if you collect the rent.
It's coming in. As we're talking about real estate, what has been like that property that makes you almost want to give up? Is there one that makes you say, you know what, I'm tired of this business? Or because you've been at it, I mean, you've been in it now since, the early 2000s. So you've been in it 20 years. Are you just used to being patient with the properties? I am. So, you know.
So I would say yes. And I know that it takes time.
Yes.
Right. So nothing's going to happen overnight.
Not even your flips? Like they don't happen in 30 days?
So no. No. The flips don't happen in 30 days. This flip that I'm working on now might have been 2 months and we almost finished.
Okay.
With that one. It's been about 2 months. A lot of times if you're doing big projects, not the contractors, the city will hold you up on permits and stuff like that. I wouldn't say a property had me ready to give up. One, I was ready to sell because I didn't like the walls. But they was like, "What's wrong with you?"
Is that the triplex?
Yes. So actually, So that one is rented out with Eden. I had to get over not liking the walls. They could put, people love it when they come see it. Right. But I had to realize I don't have to live there. And that's one thing about real estate. Right. And especially when we're looking at properties that's distressed.
Yes.
We have to realize that we don't have to live there. And as long as you make it clean, safe, somebody's going to live there, right? And every time I go to Cleveland or we in Detroit, and I'm looking at these properties that's distressed and like, I don't want to live there, right? It always brings me back to in 2007 when we bought a property from an auction in Atlanta and got all caught up with the whole bidding process. And I was like, I'm leaving here with something. I came here, I'm leaving here with something. I got to leave with something. Right? So on the paper, it was saying that this house on our street, we knew our street because we used to drive around for dollars. Driving around for dollars is when you drive around looking for vacant properties.
Yes.
And we knew the street. So I was like, all right, our street, they rehabbing over there. So on the paper, it says the house was worth $365,000. We bid it all in. I think it was like $80-something thousand. So after the auction, we're excited. Driving down our street, driving. Wait a minute, where we going? Passing over the
train track.
The train track. I'm like, they ain't doing nothing over here. We get to the block, it's 4 houses on that block. I'm like, what?
You already bought it then?
I already bought it. Filed bankruptcy in 2000, so I just got my credit back.
Yes.
Right, so I was like, well, you know what? We're going to have to just make this payment. I was like, at tax time, I'm going to put the mortgage up for the whole year. And we just deal with it because there's nothing we can do. But the good thing was the house was rehab. It wasn't an excellent rehab, but it was livable. We put a for rent sign in the ground. Somebody moved in it, and she was in that house for 14 years. The only reason she moved out was because we told her we was selling it. Because now the houses on the block is selling for $600,000. Delayed gratification.
You had to wait,
right.
though.
You had
to
buy
wait.
it
And foresee. You know, you had to wait.
Then,
You had one. So you got like the best tenants in the world. Something you doing. Because listen, I'm going to just say this. Baltimore pays on time. How many years?
14 4 years.
She been
there 14 years.
You got the one that you just put the lady out on Ivor Street. She was there 14 years.
Actually, it's more than 14. You think about it. 15 years.
Because it was 07.
Yeah, 07.
The other one you got out on the east side, the lady been there for a long time. So you haven't had a lot of tenant issues.
No.
Wow.
No. And I don't bother them. They don't bother me. They're not on Section 8. Just, you know, I truly believe that we know things can happen, right?
Yes.
You know, you can have some bad tenants. But if you focus on that, that's just going to happen.
Had them bad tenants.
Yeah. And you be like, oh, you know, whatever you worry about or you focus on is what's going to happen.
I'm trying to figure out what you do to keep these tenants, though. What come with the house? Because you
always got. What? I will say this. Honestly, I don't go up on their rent.
So, yeah, that's
now, one
that's what
tenant I
happened
just
with me.
did, but I don't go up on the rent, right? Like the lady that was in the house for 15 years. We did not go up on her rent. She paid on time.
Yes.
And one reason I don't go up, because I'm like, all right, if I go up, let's say $50, or let's just say $100, right? So I'm going to get an extra $1,200, right? But if they move out, it's going to cost me more than $1,200 to fix it up for the next tenant. So is it worth it for me to get an extra $100 when it might cost me $5,000? So it's going to take me an extra 5 years just to recoup that. And now this tenant was paying on time. Now this tenant, I don't even know if they're going to pay on time.
Right.
So to me, like, it doesn't make sense to go up on the rent. Now, one tenant I did have to go up on the rent, but
because your taxes and stuff go up now.
Yeah, but I didn't have to. So she was paying $950. She been in this house for probably 10 years.
Wow.
She's been in this house like 10 years. I didn't go up on the rent, but I was going to sell it. So I asked her if she wanted to buy it, and she was like that. First she said, let her think about it. So she came back, she was like, I have to be honest with you. My credit score is 400. And she makes good money. I do her taxes. She make well over 100,000.
So you do your tenants' taxes and you repair credit. So she could have just added an extra $25 a month and then fixed the credit.
Yeah. So when she was like that, you know, her credit's 400. So I was like, well, you know, we do fixed credit. I fix your credit.
Credit go that low?
It go 300.
Ooh, mine ain't never been that bad. I had some rough days, but woo.
300. So I went up to I wasn't gonna go up to 1,500, but we negotiated 14. She was like, she understand that I have never went up on the rent, and she was happy, so she was looking for somewhere else to live. So she know rent is really expensive, and it's a new house. The house was built, I think, in 2004.
So she's still there.
She's still there. So we went up on the rent, and she's still there.
So she's not going nowhere.
She ain't going nowhere.
You're not gonna sell it to her now?
No, I ain't selling it to her now. Cause I ain't selling it to her now. But yeah.
Wow, Dana. So 53 units. Most of them because you learned the credit business. Correct. That took you some time. Mm-hmm. And over the past, you've had like an explosion over the past 4 years. Mm-hmm. What do you think is gonna happen in the next 4 years?
The next 4 years, I'm gonna have another explosion. Right, because I want more doors. Okay. I don't really have a number on how many. I'm just going to see what happens, how many we buy. You know, and really downhill. You know, the next because I'll be almost 40 in 4 years.
You kept count, didn't you? Yeah. You kept count just then.
So you know, and really just relax and enjoy life. You know, vacation and just. You know, watch my son grow up into a man.
Well, what? I mean, you keep mentioning your son, but what happened to the mother too?
They grown.
They grown all the way?
They grown.
They got it going on though.
Yeah, but they grown, and you know, he's not a baby, but still, you know, 18, 19. Yes. But still get him right, because I know it's hard out here for men.
It is. I mean, it's different.
Yeah.
It's different. But when we got the village like we have, we're going to all be all right. Mm-hmm. We'll be all right. Mm-hmm. So, look, before we go, I got to ask you this one. What's the thing that you have regretted not delaying? Or I'm gonna give you two. You get choices: not delaying, or the thing that you have delayed and you're really excited about it coming to fruition.
Okay, so one question at a time. So the first one, something that
that you regretted.
That I regretted.
Yes.
I regretted not, like when I used to go to meetups, really not talking to people, sitting off and not networking. Because once I started networking, my life changed, my bank account changed. So that's one thing that I regret, because, you know, I should just go sit in the corner, don't talk to anyone, get the information and leave. So that's one thing I regret, because I could have been a little further along.
Maybe.
Yeah.
But I got it. I see why you say that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So what's the thing that you're waiting on that you're excited about happening? Like you've delayed. Is it something that you could have bought? Is it something that you wanted 2 years ago that you didn't buy? I think you almost buy everything you want, but is it something that, man, I just thought about that yacht party you had changed our lives again.
And that was my first birthday party I ever had.
Are you serious?
That's the first birthday party I ever had. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
On a yacht.
On a yacht.
In Miami. Mm-hmm. We balled out. Mm-hmm. It was life changing though, because we sat and looked at other yachts and houses. It was, for me, it's definitely life changing. So thank you for that. So what is that thing that you have been delaying and we can look forward to you getting? What is it?
Delaying and I think going on more vacations. Because
you got friends that go on a lot of vacations.
Yeah, I got friends going on a lot of vacations.
I mean, a lot of vacations. Yeah.
So yeah, just like going on vacation and really just enjoying life.
Yes.
Right? And sometimes closing the computer. Right? Because sometimes we sit in front of that computer for 15 hours, just clicking around, really just closing it and just doing what we enjoy. Right? A lot of times we say money don't really make you happy, but give you the time freedom to figure out what makes you happy.
Made me real happy though.
Huh? But so, you know, for me, it's like just watching the water. Like, I don't swim. I don't like to get in the water, but I love to have an ocean view and just looking at the water.
I'm going to put you on the spot and we're going to close it out with this. Mm-hmm. Where haven't you been that you want to go, that you're going to go in the next 12 months? Because you've been delaying not traveling like you're supposed to travel.
So now this is opposite from what I said I like to do. But I want to go to Alaska. I always wanted to go to Alaska. Even though I say I like looking at the water and stuff like that, but I always wanted to go to Alaska.
You want to you want to cruise or fly?
I think I want to cruise.
You want to see the whales pop up and all that cool stuff? Mm-hmm. Okay. So when you going? You going between now and next summer? By this time next year?
Oh, yeah. By this time next year, I would have went. Yeah, I should have went.
You should have went? Mm-hmm. You going?
Yeah.
Y'all listen, Dana, thank you for being on the Delayed Gratification podcast. Mm-hmm. Y'all know y'all got a lot. Y'all better go follow her. Mm-hmm. Click all her links. Pay for everything. Tell her you saw on the Delayed Gratification podcast. Thank y'all.
Thank you.